Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to episode 10 of 3 Feet from Gold, Believing in Yourself. My name is Jeremy Murphy. I'm a positivity, health, and running coach in Lincoln, Nebraska, also the creator of the Positivity Patrol, and I'm joined by my friend Ha Tran.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ha Tran, and I just learned what Jeremy just did, to have a sign. So this is my website, hatranspeak.com. I'm a motivational speaker, a published author, and a navigational coach. And I'm so happy that to join my partner here to share with you what we learned about the 3 feet from goal. And today's chapter is believing in yourself. This is one of our favorite chapters.
It really is. This is an extremely meaningful topic when you get to the issue of belief and self-confidence. And it's the type of thing that all of us have struggled with, and that we've helped people that have self-esteem issues or that struggle with the confidence or they get knocked down by life in some way. And so it's really important that we all find ways to not only to help ourselves have that self-confidence we need, but also to restore it for others who are struggling with it, but just can't find the way to improve their lives and be positive and move the correct direction.
You want to do a little bit of our housekeeping before we get into the chapter?
Yes, please. We have an agreement with the Napoleon Hill Foundation to basically broadcast this show, to use the title on the Blab, and they also asked us to refer you to their website for further information. So here's the notice they asked us to read. 3 Feet from Gold is used with the consent of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. However, the foundation has no control over and does not endorse the Blab.im platform or content. To learn more about the Napoleon Hill Foundation, go to naphill.org. And they're doing wonderful work around the world, not just in the United States, but they've helped probably thousands or millions of people at this point. And so if you haven't checked out their website, please do so. And they're even providing inspirational quotes on Instagram and other LinkedIn. They're on several different social media platforms.
Jeremy, and our conversation last night, you were talking about the two voices, just like one on your right shoulder and one your back, your left shoulder. And sometimes one is with a positive voice, and other one is just like the voice of resistance, or that try to stop you from doing something that you want to do. And when the conversation we have last night, you talk about to quiet the voice that try to interfere and want to tell you that not to do something. Talk about that, please.
Sure. The inner critic that we all have that voice can be deafening because it's so loud and so negative. And once that negativity starts to permeate, it really starts to take over if we let it, and we're not cognizant of what it's doing to us, that it can destroy us. So I've really tried to work with trying to figure out when that inner critic voice is speaking, and when it does, it tends to prop up false beliefs that we start to have about ourselves, about having doubt and fear and just feeling inadequate or unworthy of something. And so learning that and realizing that there was a different way that I could step away from that and find a positive, confident self that's not really, it's not an arrogant self. It's a self-confidence that just gives you the assurance that you're doing the right thing, that you're going the right direction, and most importantly, that we can do something. Because that inner critic convinces us that we absolutely can't and gives us reasons why, and we start to believe and buy into that, and then we can't pull out of it or find ways to do that in a meaningful way. And then we get stuck.
When we're looking for into the inner critic, and we're almost thinking that is a problem child. But the truth of the matter is that voice is just to protecting us. to the best of what they know, how they know how.
Right.
Because by stopping us to go somewhere, and just like when you climb the tree and just pull your leg down, just because it don't go up there because you will fall.
Right.
And so I think that the best way for us to do it, just to listen and to acknowledge that critic, that inner voice, and then we will help it to subside it, and then you will dismiss it because we said,
Right.
okay, I hear you, I understand where you're coming from, but now go away because I have work to do.
Right. And there is value to at least hearing what the inner critic is saying, but we have to be able to set it aside and realize when it's speaking realistically and when it's not, and it's almost always unrealistic. And then we have to just kind of flatten it with, just a sort of a peaceful self-confidence is how I would put it.
This chapter is say a lot to me because when you're looking in at the Napoleon Hill, you're looking at Charlie Tremendous Jones, and you look into all the great the renowned people with the greatest success, and you just cannot imagine that what they've gone through. We thought that they just like overnight instant success, but the truth of the matter, when I read the chapter, I appreciate so much because if they don't have the courage to start it and they don't have the courage to continue it, we never see their work, and then they will not be the voice that we so greatly admire.
You're right. It's the struggle from their experience that gives them the intelligence that they need to work through issues and challenges that they have. And that's the case for all of us. It's the experience of learning lessons from negative things that happen and realizing that they can be overcome with, diligence, persistence, perseverance, the type of things we've been talking about on the other episodes. But that's a powerful realization that some of the people covered in this chapter dealt with some things that are extremely difficult, and they could have flattened their entire career and sent them down a different negative direction that who knows where they would have ended up or who they would have become.
That name will be not one of our conversation today.
Oh, true.
Right? So
true.
true. Yeah. So I have such a great I already admire those people. Now I just have such a great respect for them, the journey they went through and the challenge that they're facing. And, maybe the differences between them and the success people and the non-success people, like many people mentioned before, because those people don't quit. You just have a sign, something, the green sign?
Yes.
No, pull it up. Yeah.
Okay.
What did the sign say? I need my glasses. Getting old.
A quitter.
Okay, a quitter never win, and a winner never quit. See, look at how it tied up. And then who say that? Is that
I think it's a Napoleon Hill quote. I tried to verify that before the show today, and that's not unofficially that's who said it. So, but I haven't confirmed. I can confirm that from the Napoleon Hill Foundation website, I'm sure, if I just ask them or search for it there.
But that amazing at the for a few for this chapter, just a few pages, the conversation between Charlie Tremendous Jones and Craig about the book, and then now we and another famous name come in, that is Norman Vincent Peale. So let's talk about that, because I'm so excited about the idea of those who are success and they have their own trouble, they have their own challenge, and they overcome it. And maybe our viewer listen to it and will resonate with that.
Yes, I think it's interesting. And we should note that at the beginning of this chapter that Greg is anxious. He has anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a common thread that runs through to Norman Vincent Peale's life. He had struggles with self-doubt and feeling inadequate. And despite his extraordinary giftedness, he was a very sensitive person. And sensitive people, when they feel criticism, either from ourselves or from others, it hurts. It hurts more. And I share that, a little bit of that sensitivity. So I know, that can be difficult to set aside, but it gives people like Peel an extraordinary amount of compassion for others that just emanated around the world. I mean, power of positive thinking. We're talking about 7 million books sold, still in print. Deep impact on so many people, including me. I read it when I was a little kid. I was 11 or 12, and I was having some self-esteem issues and just sort of looking for something to centralize everything in my life. And I read that book, and it changed everything. It was like a complete mental reboot of everything that I had known before was now positively aligned and powerfully aligned. And it really changed a lot of things in my life reading that book. But Peel struggled with self-esteem issues, and he had to lean on his wife to some extent, didn't he, Ha?
Yes, and the reason you see that I smile from ear to ears, because that what we learn is not we are not reading from the People magazine, but this
Sure.
is from his wife himself. Somebody that did know him very well, and somebody is become his best friend, his confidant, and I mean that is the true life story. That is not imagination, or not make up create from the sensation, create the sensation, or from the tabloid.
Right.
Can you share? Okay, now see on the first conversation was Craig was he finished his draft of the book, and then he sent out to the publisher, and including the proposal, and then he returned not just one but many of rejections, and
Right.
he was so discouraged by that, and he picked up the phone call, and he called Charlie Tremendous Jones. And I remember Charlie said, that is a lot of people, a lot of great author that I know, sometimes that that's it, they come to the at the point that they almost thinking that their work is not good at all. They just about to they threw in the trash can, and that's the case of Norman Vincent Peale.
Exactly. That he threw that manuscript out for his very first book. He thought it was terrible, and that maybe some of that criticism, maybe he could have used that to revise it into a better copy. But his wife said, "Wait a minute. Maybe we should do something with this." So what did his wife do, Ha?
I think that his wife fix it up, pick it up, and then she started to make some, to clean it up, because she started to read it, and then sometimes about the writer. When you write it, you read your own work, and sometimes that you need to have a new set of fresh eyes in order to see something that you are missing. And then Ruth Stafford Peale, that's exactly the person. She picked up her husband's book, and she did some, just minor editing and clean up. She sent it out to the publisher, and that book printed in, I think that the 20, how many editing, how many printing it went through in 25 countries.
Oh,
is that amazing?
Yes.
And that the book is just like, at one point he think that belonged to the trash can. And that now it appeared to many library and somebody a bookshelf.
And this is interesting to me, because we talk about taking out the trash, about taking out the junk in our lives. And this is one of those exceptions to the rule, where the very thing that's in the trash is something that's worthy of being retained, that can help thousands of or millions of people. It's amazing. And to see the word confidence is part of that title, A Guide to Confident Living. I mean, I would underline that word confidence. If we don't have that, we're not going to go anywhere. You can quote me on that. I've tried it.
But let's go back and give to talk about Dr. Peale credential. He is a preacher of a very large church, right?
Yes.
And and his voice, he preached and he shared the voice of the positive thinking and all the stuff, and well known by many. And at one point he wrote the book, and he think his book belonged to the trash can, and thanks to his wife who have a confidence and believe in her husband. That is the believing in her husband. She picked it up and she sent it out and to have the book published. And then come out with the book that you're talking about, the positive thinking.
Yes,
the power of positive thinking.
And I think it's amazing. There's a simplicity about the Power of Positive Thinking book that is just it's striking. When you read the book, it's so it's easy to read, even for young children can read it. I mean, I read it when I was 11 or 12, absorbed it. I was writing all these quotes down on note cards and making them into affirmations, and that's how powerfully that book hit me. And I think many people have felt that. And his faith permeated that book too. I mean, all the Bible verses that are in there, some of them are still extremely meaningful to me. Some of the most significant that I've experienced in my lifetime. And he was the one that sort of threw those out there for me. And I'm eternally grateful to him for that gift. It's just a wonderful gift to the world, to millions of people whose lives have been changed by him realizing that his ministry went way beyond his pulpit and into the whole world, and into the whole world for generations, not just for his generation.
And you talking about the language, the way he write, the way he preach. Maybe that the way he writing, he simplify it, because when he preach, when you're in the church at big, and then you have to speak the common language to the common people,
right?
And then because he consistently deliver that he deliver an extraordinary result, because people start to hear him, and then they start to understand what he talking about. They can relate to him. He resonate with them,
and they began to believe in themselves. And I'm sure that led to them spreading the word about how wonderful he was. If you have such a strong catalyst who has the capacity to affect millions of lives and help people realize their amazing greatness that we all have as a gift, and then that can be shared with the world. I mean, that just I can't even put it into words, really. I'm trying.
Yeah. Now, can you share what the positive effect on the Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the power of positive thinking on you, and how you so glad that he continued to continue to write a book other than the first book that he just tossed in the trash can?
Yes, like I said, when I was 11 or 12, I decided to read this book. I think my dad actually had this book at his dental office. Mm-hmm. And if you're a dentist, I mean, you're trying to cheer people up, take the edge off, give them some assurance and calm and all that. And so I started looking at this book, and the title was it was like a really strong magnet, Power of Positive Thinking. Okay, what is it? So I got curious, and I said, well, what is this all about? And I started reading it, and I couldn't put it down. And so I read through it, and I read through it again, and I kept reading through it. And it started sinking in at a deep level. And I started writing down affirmations from the book and using them in my own life. I wrote down all the Bible verses in the book because it gave me a stack of, biblical affirmations to incorporate in my life. And his faith that he shared with the world, it deeply affected me to the point where, it allowed me to become a more confident person, and realized that I had gifts that I hadn't used, and that I could affect people in positive ways, way beyond what I had anticipated or thought.
Yeah, I'm so glad that, and we never underestimate the power of the seed that planted into our mind at a younger age. And at 8 or 10 years old, you still remember, and he has created such a impress in your young mind. And I'm so glad to hear that. Now, in this book, I have to talking about Napoleon Hill. The struggle, the self-doubt about the book and his journey. There is on page 121. There is the letter he sent home to his wife. This is Mr. Florence Hill. Encouragement.
Right.
Would you like to read that to share that with our viewer? Because I think this is so powerful. I mean, it brought tears in my eyes.
This has been a very powerful letter to me also, and I'm grateful that the Napoleon Hill Foundation shared this and allowed this to be a part of this book, because it's a powerful letter, and I think all of us can identify with some of the struggle in here. But here's the letter that Napoleon Hill wrote to his wife in 1925. And I quote, "We will soon be having lots of money. Leave it to me to get it. But meanwhile, encourage me and tell me you think I can do it. You have no idea what it is like when not a soul on earth encourages you and all the negative forces pour in on you. It takes superhuman strength of will to throw them off. I would give anything if I had someone, even though they did not mean it or believe it, to tell me that they knew I could succeed. I would like to hear this every day and sometimes twice a day. I keep telling myself this, but it is not as if it came from an outsider. The other self in me keeps denying it when I say it. I suppose you understand what I am talking about, or do you? If you do, then you can sympathize with me, and perhaps you will help me. All I need is a little encouragement right now, and I will go over in a big way and bring home the bacon." End quote.
Wow. Wow. You know, I mean, people read Think and Grow Rich. Nobody, maybe some, or maybe few, know that how he felt at one point.
And it intersects with, there's a song, Home of the Range, that talks about seldom is heard a discouraging word. And if we take that discouragement out of the picture and substitute the type of encouragement that Napoleon Hill is talking about in this letter, that really links with the confidence and having the positivity, the positive core that we need to sustain and be successful and help other people be successful, family and friends.
Yeah, and you know, and sometimes you know that's a conversation we have too, Jeremy. Sometimes that you have a dream, you have a vision, you have to share with the people that who have the right to listen to your dream.
True.
Because you just cannot share with anybody.
That's
like
true.
Our friend here on the CD3, the design. I remember, and you know, sometimes people don't know what talent you have. They don't know, and they cannot process, you know, the way you think and how to get there. And, you know, I mean, if you know that what you want to do, and you should not have anybody dictate your outcome or your actions.
Right.
Because if you see that and you believe in it, you have to go with all your might. You have to go, you know, you have to go with your all in order for you to get there. Because, the people, they can render their service. They can render the lip service, but nobody really can help you because you are the only one. You have the desire and you have to take you there.
Yes, and wasn't it Charlie Tremendous Jones that said that in this chapter, that when you know you're doing right and serving others, don't let anyone dictate your actions.
That's correct. That's what
page 116.
what he said.
Right.
And he said all the people who are successful because they act in spite of their fear.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody have fear. You know, if you don't have fear, that means you don't think big enough.
That's
seriously.
True.
You
That's
know, because
true.
when you dream so big to the point that you just like shaking, you know, that and that is there is some power from that too. Because, you know, if you dream too small, you don't sweat and you don't entice you to get up in the morning and to go get it.
You're very right. And I think of that quote, your why should make you cry. I mean, if we feel our why at the deep soul level, that we're feeling that degree of emotion with it, that means we're on the right track. That means we're absolutely in the right place with the right people doing the right things. I mean, those are the type of things we have to think about. But if we feel it that deeply, we're in the right place.
Okay, yeah, because this is I hope that he stay back. SD3 decided to have the conversation with us, and I I have no intention to brought up how insecure Napoleon Hill was, or anybody on Napoleon Hill was, but again, just to let everybody see that, at one time or another, somebody that because we idol them, we have to put them in the pedestal, and then you never think that they have that moment. But be honest, if they must have all that, and they have to overcome that. That's why they become so great. Because without any, what did they said? The problem is not to come to break you apart, but again, for you to find out who you are.
Yes, I agree, and it's not healthy really to put people on pedestals either. I mean, we have to. I think in order to have powerful relationships, we have to really see each other more as equals than as than to have a pedestal system. But I don't know. That's just something that I thought of. I think it's important that we realize everyone has moments in our lives where we have to say, "Help me, please help me," and maybe we don't say it very well or that directly. But when we hear those cries for help and we have the capacity and ability to help people, I don't know about you, Ha, but I have to drop everything and help that person, because sometimes there's no one else that's available to help, or they need that one more person to help them turn the key in the ignition, start the car, and be able to drive away.
See, that's why it's very important that we continue to build ourselves up. Because the stronger we are, the better option we have to save anyone. Like I talk to my clients all the time. Sometimes that my clients fantasize to helping people. They want to be a hero. And, if you see a drowning victim in the pool, and if you are a good swimmer, a strong swimmer, to save that person is not an issue, and not even should not be a question, should I or shouldn't I jump in to help that person?
Right.
But if you are not a strong swimmer, you should not jump in the pool, because you will get dragged down along with that person, and then somebody else have to come in and to try to save people.
That's true. We got to make sure. Yeah. Sometimes we're not the best fit to help someone, but we may know someone who can. And that's why the example you mentioned is so powerful, because if we do see a powerful swimmer that's better at helping people in that type of rescue situation, we can flag that person, get that person in the water and say, how can I help? Can I throw the life preserver in? And
that's exactly right.
That's
because I don't want people to say, "Wow, she's so cruel. She's so cruel. She didn't try to help." No, but then I will become a add-on to that problem. But you said you can bring the life survivor or something, and to help them, you start to think in a different way, because if you are not a strong swimmer, jump in is not an option.
We are each other's life preservers and
That's
strengtheners.
Exactly right.
When people have no strength, I mean, we're supposed to flex our muscles and help them out. That's what life is all about. But we need the confidence to think that we can actually be able to help them in order to be able to help them in a meaningful way.
But if we surround with the people like ourselves, and like a lot of the people, we want to make our community, our life is the play that is for the collaboration. It is not the competition.
Exactly.
Because collaboration, we can do much more than competition.
True.
Because, the competition is sometimes, you see at the politics today, they forget that to talking about how they make the country become great, become good. They try to take each other down, or they try to block somebody out, and then they is not focused.
True. Too much negativity. That's partly why I have to detach myself in that process a little bit, because I want to hear what positive messages can you share with us?
Okay. So here is the one on the last page on the chapter. People doubt their belief, but believe their doubts. Believe in yourself, and the world will believe in you. Your thought on that, please, and we can open it for SD3 get into the conversation.
Sure. We are just riddled with false beliefs. And I think if we examine our beliefs that we have and just ask ourselves, even quietly, is this true or false? We're going to realize a lot of times it's false. And if it's false, we have to let it go, because false beliefs attach to each other and they weigh us down like an anchor in a negative way. But if we can unload all these false beliefs and find a true sense of confidence and really maintain that, it attracts similarly minded people. It attracts positivists from around the world, not just in our country, but around the world. We're all meeting people that are positively inclined. That on a battery, you have the positive ionic side and you have the negative ions, and we have to be sensitive to which side we're on, and to try to help people move to the positive side that are struggling with negativity.
But I don't know, somewhere in this book it said that if you want to you discouraged about something, you want to quit, you should not hang around with the quitter, because they will give you all the reasons. They convince you why you should quit. So if you in the discouraged state of mind, you should find somebody who never quit, because that person will tell you the reason why you should not quit, because quitter never win and winner never quit, right? That is the sign you just hold up there.
That is true. I'll hold it up again for anyone who missed it.
Okay, a quitter never win, and a winner never quit. Okay, Jeremy, what is the next episode for next week? And then we can open for the question and answer.
Sure. The episode next week is episode 11, and we're covering chapters 13 and 14 of the book, opportunities and attitude. We're going to cover those two together. There is a quote in this chapter that I don't think we talked about, but I want to make sure that we at least mention it. It's run from people with negative attitudes.
I like that.
There's an exception to that. If people with negative attitudes have a genuine interest in changing, and they're just saying, I want to change and I don't know how, can you help me? We do have to help those people to the extent that we can. But if they're being overly negative and that's just all they're doing, and they're not asking for our help to change, we have to detach ourselves from toxic people. We have to, or these people have the unlimited capacity to destroy us if we allow them to. But if we're helping them, then we have to be a little more kind and compassionate with that. But I want to at least put that out there as food for thought.
Thank you. Hey, Jeremy, I didn't run for the office, but I will tell you that I'm flip-flop here. Earlier, when we started the chapter that believing in ourselves, I thought, wow, that's it, one of my favorite chapters. But I'm telling you, the opportunity and then attitude also, my favorite, that I take my flip-flop there, without have to running for the office.
Well, you can change. You can be open to changing your mind. So I think that's acceptable. As we go through this book, certain chapters are going to become more meaningful than others, and I mean, this one just has special meaning to me that is really anchored to Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and his wife and their legacy, and the Guidepost magazine also. Just, all the inspiration. They're a wonderful magazine. If you've never looked at it, go check it out.
Okay, so until next week on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and 12 p.m. The Central Time?
Right.
That's your time, right?
Yes.
So we will be back with chapter 13 and 14, that's the episode 11. So we can close up, and then if we check to see if our viewer want to hop into the square and talk for a moment.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a great week and hope to see you next week. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.